Yeah, it looks like a top 8 match here. Chances are whoever wins this match will be able to draw. And we're underway. A Temple of Malady here for you. Top card going to go to the bottom. Wijaya will draw a card. It's a Plains and a passing of the turn. You will draw. You saw him scry a little earlier. Here's an Elvish Mystic. That's another Temple. Take a look at the top. Consult the grip. See where this card's going to go. And then we'll be going Wijaya's way in just a moment. Must be a tough scry here. Taking a second.
So I think a lot of this matchup is going to come down to whether or not VD can find his Mantis Riders, because as you can see with this green-black Constellation deck, it's the ground's going to get locked up pretty fast. A lot of blockers, a lot of expendable chump blockers. The air is where VD really wants to be. Lightning Strike going to shoot that Elvish Mystic out of here. Does not want you ramping at all. Though there's a Sylvan Caryatid. And now another Temple of Malady. So a third Temple here, a third Scry, a third card going to the bottom. Wijaya does have Mantis Rider in his hand. The question is, does he have blue mana? That's a plane, so the answer is no, he does not. First time I've ever seen this. And VD not playing the full playset of Mystic Monasteries.
That could be the issue.
I only call this out because he's missing blue mana. And most decks play 4.
Yep. Whip of Erebos into an Elvish Mystic. That is a Lightning Strike, keeping these creatures off the table. The draw is an island right on time. That's going to come in, and now it's going to the skies.
Well, not right on time.
I think it's got to be this turn, I think, maybe.
Yeah. Well, last turn would have been right on time. This turn, he'll take it. And VD's list 2 good copies of God's Willing. And that could be a great card to have here, as I think Bradley is trying to set up a big Murderous Cut.
Here's a Commune. 5 cards, Murderous Cut, and 4 lands. Not the best Commune we've ever seen. Those are going to go to the bin. She mentioned probably trying to set up a big Murderous Cut. This is a Satyr Wayfinder. Perhaps you should have ordered those differently. Not that you actually know. Windswept Heath going to go. Rest is going to go to the bin. Not the most impressive turn here for Bradley. This is an attempt at a Murderous Cut. Does Wijaya have a God's Willing? He does not. So away those cards will go. 1 mana is all it takes to take care of the Mantis Rider.
It wouldn't surprise me when it was all said and done if, in standard level play, Murderous Cut ends up being the most impressive of all of the Delve spells.
Another Mantis Rider. It's going to be another attack here for 3. Bradley Wu is out of cards, and he needs something nice. Didn't get a great look at what he drew.
I think it's a Farika he drew.
I think that is the case. The God of Affliction would be a timely top deck. Taking a look at the graveyard here now.
Bringing out some tokens, and with the whip, he can probably get to Devotion periodically.
Yep. He's 1 away right now.
Yep.
So maybe all it does take is whip activation, as you did mention. Wijaya will draw a copy of Jeskai Charm.
Jeskai Charm pretty nice against Farika that's going to be struggling to maintain Devotion.
Another Mantis Rider and more attacks in the air. The race is on here.
Like I said, this feels like the card in the matchup. You see Bradley here, Whip of Erebos, Farika, making some Death Touch blockers, a Caryatid, and an expendable Wayfinder. Attacking on the ground is going to be tough.
Flying is so important. Saw a snake be made there from Farika on the end step. It's 8-20. Wijaya with a big lead. Looks like it's time for a whip activation. Satyr Wayfinder are going to come back. Going to trigger that. You see the count there. Courser, Eidolon, Courser, Eidolon, all to the bin. But Devotion has been met. Farika may attack. There's also an Elvish Mystic. Here is the attack. Mantis Rider going to block there. Wijaya happy to let everything else through. Some life will be gained.
But now VD gets a lot of command over the damage race here because he gets to untap with a Jeskai Charm in hand, which is really going to punish Bradley whoever makes another move to try to develop the board to get an attack in with Farika.
Yep. So Wijaya will untap. It's time to draw a card. It's an island. Only 1 source of red mana right now. Second blue source pretty important for the dig through time. that VD does have in his hand.
But he can still cast the Stokes by convoking through the Mantis Rider. I don't really think there's anything else for double red, so I guess there's Sarkin, which VD cannot cast if he has it.
Time to attack in the air yet again. And pass the turn. An activation here. Plenty of ammo for Farika. Another snake comes into play.
The real prize that Bradley needs to find here is a Hornet Queen.
That's the biggie.
Then he's got a lot of blocking to do.
Either turn one of those over from some sort of milling effect, commune, or Sacred Wayfinder for the whip, or just draw one.
Well, drawing doesn't quite do it just yet.
It's a little short on mana.
Yeah. And he does not have a lot of time to work with.
This is true. Courser. Top card. Wijaya may have a response. He does not. Windswept Teeth, that's a big one. It's going to come and gain a life. Put him up to 10. It's also a 4th mana for Whip.
This is shaping out to be a pretty good turn, but again, keep in mind the Jeskai Charm.
Hornet Queen.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to remind you once again, we are still taking time.
3 and 4, of course, can use those fetch lands for black mana because there's no working play.
Correct.
Eidolon. Going to be returned with Whip. Of course, that'll allow you to draw a card, allow him to draw that Hornet Queen. Wijaya a little concerned now.
But I still don't think there's much of a reason for VD to make a move, because if his plan here is to just to Jeskai Charm the Farika back on top, I suppose what he can do is he can Jeskai Charm now, which means that the Farika goes back on top of the deck, which means that Bradley's not drawing Hornet Queen right now, but he still just gets it as his draw step. So there's no way for VD to cut him off of it.
Really being careful, doing some math here. It's a little bit scary.
It's been a while since we've seen the old Island of the Blossoms Farika combo.
Yeah, don't see it a lot anymore. And it looks like he is going to go with the charm. Freak is going to go on top. So that'll be the card that you just draw.
And VD can do this and still cast Stoke the Flames at the end of the turn.
Pretty nice,
it's
yeah.
Nice.
And of course can railroad any of the attackers with Mantis Rider. And it's all, you probably has to attack because he needs to keep gaining life, so he probably has to just throw a bunch of his creatures away.
Well, the Death Touch creatures are safe to attack with.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
The creature that's getting exiled, the Eidolon that he's losing at the end of the turn anyway is a freebie, so.
It's got to gain 4 life, though. Up to 14. Yeah, Vini might actually need a burn spell to win this game because he's going to put him down at 10.
Well, I know that he has a copy of Dig Through Time in his hand. So he gets a lot of looks at a 4-mana spell, even if he misses on this draw.
Drew a lightning strike. I wonder if he wants to dig now. It looks like he does.
I like digging now because he can find blue source of mana plus Jeskai Charm or Stoke.
Yep. It's time to look at 7 of them. For Wijaya, a 4 damage burn spell will get the job done. Gonna consult the grip here. He does have a lightning strike. Never a great feeling your opponent is casting Dig Through Time.
Well, if it's not a bad feeling for Bradley right now because if it was, if VD had the kill, it'd be very fast.
Sure, sure. Slam 2 cards down. Let's move on with it. There are 2 cards. Looks like Battlefield Forge maybe. Gonna go with something different. Cards are gonna go to the bottom here. There's a Flooded Strand.
Although this Flooded Strand has nothing left in the deck to go get. It can still make black mana because of the Urborg. But there's no fetching to be done for Vidi.
You do wonder if Vidi knows that.
Probably. This comes up a lot in these sort of decks.
Yeah.
Saren is very full of, decks like Abzan mid-range where they have 4 Windswept Heaths and maybe 5 lands they can go find. So you're aware of this if you're playing these decks. Now here's the big question. Does Bradley just cast a Hornet Queen and hope that VD can't kill him, or does he keep using Whip to try to gain life? And it looks like he can just kind of do the best of both worlds here.
Yeah, I think your question may have been answered very quickly.
Yep.
First, here's the attack. Again, VD's working with perfect information. Courser's been showing the cards, and he knows what cards are in Bradley's hand.
It's a testament to the power level of Whip of Erebos in this Constellation deck that Bradley has been able to weather the storm of 3 Mantis Riders. I think by a margin, the worst card in VD's deck for him. And Whip plus graveyard value stuff, plus his Hornet Queen in hand may allow him to take game 1.
Looks like VD's considering just double blocking the Courser here.
Well, he doesn't want to block the snakes. Blocking the Wayfinder is not great. And the Courser's a real card. Trying to keep Bradley off of 7 Devotion for the Freaka that's in hand, maybe that's a consideration.
I actually kind of like the attempt at double blocking the Courser because maybe that causes Bradley to sacrifice his Windswept Heath. So you can see what he's going to draw.
Sure. I think that Bradley's concerned enough with his life total. I don't think he's going to do anything too greedy.
Oh,
like
I think it's very unlikely. Don't get me wrong, but
you can always hope.
Yep. There's a Hornet Queen. Buzz buzz. 2, 4, 5, 6 life was gained. Hornet Queen with all these bees coming with it now. It's 9 and 9.
And you get this feeling if Bradley's able to untap one more time,
yeah,
he's not catching up. Even if he survives, it's just too much life.
Whip has been huge this game. You see VD's hand. He's got a Lightning Strike, a Dig Through Time. He's going to sacrifice the fetch land.
So maybe not. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
That was a calm. That was a very calm realization.
Smile now.
Yep. Very calm realization and a shuffle there. A bit of a mistake.
Because that land's still tapped for mana.
Yep.
The Urborg's in play, so
he's going to strike him. Put him to 6. Now, having the land in the graveyard actually is helpful because he has Dig Through Time.
Well, it's the same thing. The Flooded Strand either gets exiled or it's tapped for mana.
Yeah, that's true.
I think VD would rather have the land in play.
And have the life.
Exactly. And have the life, too. Not that it matters too much, because I think if VD can't win the game this turn, it doesn't matter too much.
Yeah.
What else is going on?
Yeah, I've been there. The sack the fetch, can't find. And it's just kind of, you shrug your shoulders, like, that was embarrassing. Just keep moving on.
I ran out of mountains to fetch once in a burn match.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is something.
Some Pox deck. Got hemmed and stone rained a million times.
Mystic Monastery and a passing of the turn. Bradley going to draw a card. Looks like he has staved off elimination here.
Yep. Very impressive stuff. Bradley has played very well on camera.
I agree.
The only game so far where you feel like Bradley, maybe something got away from him a little bit was game 2 last round, but that was such a bizarre set of circumstances that it's hard to hold him that accountable.
Going to return an Eidolon. Time to cantrip. Looks like he may have picked up a copy of Murderous Cut.
Helps a lot.
Yep.
If you want to play him though, you can sign up for that and save yourself a little time in the see my friend Jeff over at the site of the registration area.
Yep, and that's going to clear out a Mantis Rider. What a great removal spell that card is.
In this deck, it's 1 mana kill a creature a ton of the time.
Yeah,
A lot
really
of
good.
A lot of milling for value, and all the lands that you put in your graveyard, they're just free to get rid of. The creatures, they have other duties, but the lands are all free.
Bradley's doing the math to make sure he's clear for takeoff here. Can't die in some sort of counter swing, but when you whip Veribos in play,
Yeah, Whip makes Alpha Strikes like this pretty easy.
you have 4 cards in the graveyard. But he can't get himself out of this one. Bradley Yu's going to win game number 1 here over Vidianto Wijaya. Green-black Constellation up a game here over Jeskai Aggro, and a fun one that was, as we do turn our attention to the sideboards.
I got VDs here, 2 Bramaz, 2 End Hostilities, 2 Suspension Fields, 3 Disdainful Strokes, 2 Negate, 2 Anger of the Gods, Karanos, and an Narset. This is the kind of matchup where I think VD just swaps into a control deck. I think he wants his End Hostilities, the Karanos, the Narset, a lot of the removal, play a longer game, get rid of some of these random attacking creatures, some of the low-impact burn spells. I think we're going to see a very different deck out of him games 2 and 3.
My side, I'm looking at 2 Doomwake Giants, Dark Betrayal, 2 Heroes Downfall, Freak, a God of Affliction, Initial World Waker, 4 Thoughtseize, and 4 copies of Arbor Colossus. And the last card, probably the best card, honestly. Arbor Colossus solves a lot of problems for this deck, and we saw just how powerful Mantis Rider was.
So flying's an issue, and size matters against Jeskai Aggro. They don't have a lot of clean solutions. There's no Chain of the Rocks, cards like that. It's all damage based. So 6/6s for 5 are great deals against a deck like Jeskai Aggro.
It's time to talk comics. Cardboard Crack, now available, StarCityGames.com.
Everyone's favorite black and white Magic the Gathering comic strip coming to you in paperback form. Both books available right now for $12.99 a piece. StarCityGames.com/cardboardcrack for more information.
It's sweet.
It's fun, lighthearted, but insightful, like most good comics.
You know what? If you don't, follow them on Twitter. It's sweet there, too. That's right. I'm giving their Twitter handle a drop. Follow
Okay.
them. It's a sweet Twitter to follow.
Okay.
He just drops the comics on there. That's how I follow him. I don't read books.
I already feel like I'm following too many people, so.
What, like
it's
7?
tough. No, we're approaching 300.
Wow, look at you.
Yeah.
Who's your best follow on Twitter? The best one you get excited when you see a tweet.
People that are friends of mine that I just know and I appreciate their sense of humor, I think Paul Rietzel. People that I do not really know, but I followed because of gassy tweets, I think Zach sells Magic.
Okay.
Those would be my 2 hits.
Very nice. Very good. My favorite one is Drunk Hippo.
Okay.
Just tell some ridiculous jokes that are good for retweets. Also, Fake Sports Center. And there's the new modern Seinfeld, I think it is.
Sure. I like Florida Man as a great follow.
Florida Man?
Florida Man is a
I don't
great
know
follow.
Florida Man.
It is all headlines about that. Basically all newspaper articles that start off with the headline, Florida Man, blah, 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 and it's all just ridiculous stuff that
Oh, okay. That sounds
happens
good.
in the state of Florida.
Twitter is a wonderful place.
It is. And I really like Florida Man a lot because New Jersey and Florida have this magic rivalry of who is the most arrogant, self-aggrandizing state.
Sure.
It's been neck and neck for a bunch of years.
It really has been.
So Florida shots are kind of my favorite things to take.
That's good.
Yeah.
At least you're honest.
It's a healthy rivalry.
I can appreciate the honesty.
Yeah,
I really can.
It's true.
It's good. Once upon a time, there was a world without the internet. You know that was a thing that existed?
I do. Sometimes I wish we just went back.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do.
can't imagine. I remember when I used to get mad when the internet used to just not work because I didn't know what to do.
Obviously, it's a huge step forward for humanity in a number of ways, what the internet provides. And I think at some point it's going to be an enshrined human right that internet access will be a thing. But there are some issues. The accessibility, the anonymity, not everything is a positive.
I remember
But Florida Man makes it all worth it.
Sure.
If you're on the fence about how you feel about just, what the internet does to humanity and wealth inequality and all that kind of stuff, if you don't know exactly where you land, well, Florida Man, that's the tiebreaker.
I think my favorite thing is going back and looking at the beginning of the internet,
Yeah.
GeoCities,
Yep.
dialing that up. or when you had to connect to the internet and then you would like dialed into the phone and it made that horrible noise
It's one of my
as you were
favorite.
connecting.
One of my favorite beats. I don't get to bust it out very often because I'm not that computer literate. I mean, I can pass, but I'm not that knowledgeable.
Sure.
Is when someone asks a question, demonstrates a lack of knowledge about technology. Just going, I don't know. Why don't you go ask Jeeves? Ask Jeeves beats are the best.
I don't even know that website still exists.
I don't know if it does either. It might not. But it was a website where it's like Google, but you go to the website, there's a butler, and you type in a question, and you hit enter, and let's call it 15% of the time, you get an answer that's tangentially related to the question that you were asking. It was at the time, a huge step forward for humanity.
Indeed. Indeed. Now the internet knows where we are and who we are.
Yep. It's a little different.
It's a touch.
It's a little different.
A touch different, yeah. See if VD can actually tie things up here with his Jeskai aggro deck.
That has to be a disheartening game one for VD because his
Yeah.
draw was great. He had a great draw.
Outside of the blue mana being a little late to the party, he had a draw he would want in this matchup every time. 3 Mantis Riders.
I think through time, a lot of his 4 damage spells,
Yep.
I mean, he had juice, you know? He had a lot to play with.
Came up 1 point short. If he could find one more 4 damage burn spell with that dig through time, he would have been good to go. Just a touch short. He can lay out his opener. See Bradley going to take a look at his. Game will be underway in just a moment. If you guys are just joining us, you've missed some pretty sweet stuff here from Oakland. Cedric Phillips, Patrick Sullivan at SCG Live, hashtag SCGOAK for your tweets, as Wijaya will take a mulligan. It's round 9 of 10 here from the Bay Area. Always sweet to come down here.
It is. And this is a match that a great storyline here. Bradley's played very well on camera thus far. VD, one of the biggest names coming into the tournament. This is a win-it-in match, essentially, for these players, but dwarfed by the Jeskai Sensei Heroic deck at 8-0.
It's been an absolute pleasure to watch.
It's been incredible to watch. I've never really seen a Sierra tournament kind of mid-season taken by storm by something like this. Both these players, high-quality Magic players. You see 7-1. The one next to both of their names came against this deck.
Yep.
And we're going to be watching it a lot tomorrow morning.
Yvonne Jen has been the one running rampant over this tournament.
Broke it.
He's our only
broke it.
He's our only undefeated player. I think he is playing right now behind Bradley. You can kind of see his friends in the shirts. He's already locked for top 8.
This is one of those spots where if he loses, he can still take a draw on top 8.
Yep.
And if he wins, he locks up the 1 seed.
Yes. You can expect that for our quarterfinals tomorrow. VD gonna keep. Temple of Epiphany is how we start game number 2. Take a look at the top card. That one stays on top. Over to you we go. That's a Temple of Malady. Take a look at that top card. That one goes to the bottom. So over to Wijaya for turn number 2. It's a Mystic Monastery. Of course, with Jeskai, take the first couple of turns off to get the mana set up, and the fun begins.
And I would be surprised if Seeker of the Way was still in VD's deck here post-board because Bradley's so good at blocking.
Satyr Wayfinder going to come down. 2 Coursers and a Murderous Cutter turned over and put in the graveyard. Llanowar Waste goes to the hand. Goblin Rabblemaster the draw. VD does have lands here. See a Battlefield Forge. That's what he's going to play. He's also got a copy of Disdainful Stroke in hand. Here is 3 mana. Looks like he's trying to decide which threat to play.
I like opening with Rabblemaster
Seems like a good place to start.
because Mantis Rider's value is much more flat. Rabblemaster is a lot more polarized. Rabblemaster gets a lot worse as the game progresses too. So getting good value out of this while you can, and then saving the Mantis Rider, which will always work down the line, I like that as the sequencing.
The Goblin trades with the Satyr Wayfinder. So time for a Courser, perhaps? It is. Take a look at the top card. A copy of Satyr Wayfinder. Back to Wijaya we will go.
And that's why that block last turn was so important, because now the Rabblemaster, it cannot be a 4-power attacker, so the Courser holds off the Rabblemaster and the token. Might have looked on the surface like that was a little bit early for a block, but it does a very good work containing this Rabblemaster.
Another Rabblemaster in Wijaya's hand. Also a copy of Mantis Rider. So to the skies, or do we stay on the ground?
He also has a Jeskai Charm, I believe, so he can try to play this tempo game of get that Courser on top, make a token, hit for 4 points damage. Now next turn, my Rabble Master will be 4 power and can attack into the Courser. So a lot of options here for VD.
He's going to go with the second Rabble Master. Goblin token incoming. Let's actually make it 2. See if Wijaya wants to attack with this one. He does. It'll be a 4-2 attacker. Of course, the other Rebel Master forcing that one to attack. So offering up the trade here. Or do you just eat a little Goblin token?
Recently received some tweets here that Ask Jeeves has been rebranded as Ask.com, which is super lame, but I guess it still exists.
Where'd Jeeves go?
Yeah, where'd Jeeves go?
Did he
got
get fired? Yeah.
Well, he never knew the answer to anything, so I guess it makes sense.
Well, I guess. He said 15% is not really the best rate.
Right. At that point, I'd rather just guess.
Here's Seder Wayfinder. Let's turn over Commune with the Gods. The Sylvan Carry add another Commune and a Temple of Malady. Malady's going to go to the Grip. Others will go to the Graveyard. There is a Temple. Take a look at the top card. That's going to the bottom.
And what's great about this is VD has done so much work with these Rabble Masters, which, again, no guarantee they're going to be good in any particular game because Bradley can come up the works. And he's doing all this, leaving the Mantis Riders as leftovers.
See, this just shows how powerful Rabble Master is, though, right?
Even in matchups where it's not guaranteed to be good, when it's good, it's incredible.
And it just leaves some creatures behind, lets you keep chipping away and turn on those burn spells. Such a card. Here's the attack. See what Wayfinder wants to get in front of. It's just going to chump block the Rabble Master here. So 3, 4, 5, 6 points of damage going to come across. You're going to draw a card. Of course, a Crufix is what he's found. The question is, does he have a 5th land? Because it looks like he's got a copy of Doomwake Giant in hand.
This is a starting point.
Doomwake, yep.
But too much damage may have already been done, and if VD has Disdainful Stroke, which looks to be the case.
Yeah, you see Bradley is doing the math on what Rabble Master can do, and it's going to be plenty. Vidianto Wijaya going to win game number 2. And we're headed to a 3rd and final one between these two great players. They've had one hell of a tournament. Again, their only loss coming in Jeskai Heroic.
Some great matches, too. VD had an early match that was very close. Bradley played very well a few rounds ago. Had a memorable match last round in a losing effort. And now, 2 good games so far between these two. It's been really fun to watch.
One more to go between these two players. They're going to shuffle and go back to their sideboards here. While we do wait, we will take a look at SCG Game Night.
So, a program that we launched a few months ago, initially as a Wednesday night thing, that we've changed to just running it whenever you want to. Fun, friendly, casual focused play at your store, sanctioned or unsanctioned, format of your choice. Every month we come out with new pins and foils that we send to stores. You're allowed to distribute them however you want to amongst your players. And if you're interested in getting signed up for December, make sure to just head over to StarCityGames.com/game night, get more information there.
You want that worm? Go to your local store. It's not tough.
It's not tough.
We make it really easy.
If your local store is doing it now, talk to them about it. Because Star City Games is very helpful. Professionals on the line at all times, or standard East Coast business hours at least. Not 24
We're
hour.
always open.
Not 24
no,
hour,
we're always open. Dial them up right now.
Not 24-hour call center, as far as I know, but very easy to get the help that you need to get these kids sent to your store.
I love Game Night. And I'm going to get that worm token.
Okay.
I am. I don't want the pin because I don't have anything to put it on. But the token, I'll take the token. I have a nice collection of tokens in my apartment. Just in my desk drawer.
You can just wear a pin.
Yeah, you're right. I guess I could put it on this thing.
I had a Boros pin that I had wearing on my hat when I was playing in the Pro Tour, playing Boros.
Nice.
Not even trying to bluff.
You are who you are.
Yep.
I can respect that. I oftentimes do the whatever color deck I'm playing, play those sleeves.
Yeah.
I do that a lot.
Because most people assume, oh, this guy is probably trying to get tricky on me.
Yeah.
So it's good as a meta bluff. It's also just an awesome declaration of, I don't even care if you know what I'm playing.
You want to take it to the ultimate level?
Not going to change anything.
The PTQ that I won in Innistrad block, I had a Delver of Secrets and a Bloodline Keeper?
Yes.
And I just took them out of my deck box before every game and just put them on the table. I just didn't care at that point, because I was actually kind of frustrated. I got knocked out of the Grand Prix because I had a good deck, but my PTQ deck was way better, my Grand Prix deck, so I just took them out of the deck box. And the best was the game the opponent would play was just like, he wouldn't tell me he has a Bloodline Keeper, so He's probably just lying. And I would just cast it and then just slide it into play. I'm just like, yeah, I just don't care
Yeah,
for all of the nonsense of trying to hide cards.
exactly.
Plus, you can't beat that card anyway.
Right.
It's dumb.
Yeah, if Bloodline Keeper had a rule in Limited where you had, if you drew it, you had to put it on your forehead facing your opponent so they knew the whole time you had Bloodline Keeper, it would not change anything.
Nope.
Would not change a single thing about the game.
I cast it, you lose.
Yeah, I've got this, so, knock yourself out.
That was a great limited format.
It was really fun. I don't know if it's my favorite draft format of all time, but the replayability of draft was probably higher than any format that I've ever played.
Oh, man, that format was good. I could play that forever and ever. I really could. I love me some travel preparations, man.
Unfortunately, everyone figured that out pretty
Well,
quickly.
then I liked Invisible Stalker.
Oh, okay.
I was ahead of the game on that.
Invisible Stalker?
Yeah, I was mocked for taking Invisible Stalker over Bloodline Keeper in a draft.
Sure. I mean, I've definitely done my own share of outside-the-box picks. I don't think I would pull the trigger on that, but I understand what you're saying.
I'm moving in.
Yeah,
I'm moving in. I don't care what anyone thinks.
that's fine.
Get myself a little butcher's cleaver. We're going to work.
Put some pants on him.
Yeah, no special flight. No shame. Let's get to work.
Just whatever I found in the trash can. I'm gonna put it on this dude, and that's gonna be good enough.
See it. They can't see it, so they can't kill it. See how
Right.
it works? That's the joke.
But you could probably see this butcher's cleaver floating in the air towards you, right? Like, maybe you can't see the invisible stalker, but there's some clues that something's going on.
What is that?
Why is it coming towards me? Why is it kind of moving from side to side like someone's running with it in their hands? Well, whatever. Probably nothing.
An Elvish Mystic will start things off here for Bradley. He's at 19. Vidianto going to play a Temple of Epiphany. A little scry action here in game number 3. Again, whoever does win this match, you can basically lock him up for top 8. And put the top card to the bottom. You will draw a card. There's Sylvan Caryatid. It's an Urborg. Pass the turn back. We are being informed right now that Ivan Jen, our Jeskai Heroic player, lost this round.
Makes it a little bit of a sweat.
Yeah.
But again, keep in mind, we are on the short side of 10 rounds here. I mean, we're at 450. So given that his breakers are excellent, last round splits are, generally speaking, just straight paired by standings, I would imagine Ivan can draw it.
He got paired down. He was the only undefeated player coming into this round. He had to play, and he did finally lose. So now sitting at 8-1. Here's a Courser of Crufix. Take a look at the top card. It's another Courser.
And Vidi's hand, not really that smooth by the looks of things.
Manowar Waste's going to come into play. Gain a life. This is a Commune. Guaranteed to hit. There's the Courser.
And it's not like Bradley really wants to draw a Courser next turn anyway, because he already has the 1. So this is a really nice spot to commune.
He will take the Courser. We'll see the top card. It's a Whip of Erebos. That's a good one to draw next turn.
Whip really changes the dynamic of how these games play out. So Vidi there by Magma Jetting to me means he was sitting on Disdainful Stroke and hoping that Bradley would just play Eidolon of the Blossoms.
Yeah.
But Bradley did not play into it and used all of his mana that turn. So a bit of a disaster there for Vidi. It's a small thing, but these little exchanges, they add up.
You do wonder now if he's going to keep mana available if he has it. There's a Temple, so yes is the answer. If he's going to play a 3-mana spell versus keeping Disdainful Stroke, but he sees the Whip of Erebos that's coming.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of problem for him in the last game. He's going to keep the card on top, pass the turn back. So Whip is the draw. Commune is the top card from the Courser. Now the question is, if you're Bradley, do you play into this?
Well, Disdainful Stroke's definitely something on his radar and should be based on what happened last turn. That play to me is 100% Disdainful Stroke in my opponent's hand. So I think Bradley's played sharp enough that it wouldn't surprise me if he's aware that that's what all the evidence points to and does his best to play around it.
And I like playing the courser.
Just cranking out these coursers, forcing Vidi to tap out for something, and then you get to start landing your 4 and 5 mana spells. This is good stuff.
There's a Shivan Reef. And this is really interesting, right? Because, and now Vidi is not going to play back at him. He's not going to play Mantis Rider, one of the best cards in this matchup. He's basically saying, I can't let you resolve Whip. It's too good against me.
And by Bradley not playing the Whip last turn that Vidi knew about, that's an indication to Vidi, all right, well, this guy is aware of Disdainful Stroke. He's not going to play directly into it. So Vidi might have to just pass here, hope that Bradley says go. Then maybe the next turn, he can stoke one of these courses at the end of the turn, try to work his way back in the game this way. But there's a lot of cat and mousing going on right now, really based on nothing besides that Magma Jet that Vidi elected to play, not on his own turn, but waiting until Bradley's end step.
Commune is going to give Bradley you an Arbor Colossus. Now there's another Disdainful Stroke target. The rest of the card's going to go to the graveyard. Top card is Whip of Erebos. Now things have changed.
Well, now you might see Bradley feel like he can just throw away one of his whips to this Disdainful Stroke.
There's 4 mana. There's a Stoke. But trust me, it's tough when you're playing against this Jeskai deck because they can have a lot of cards. A ton of different burn spells. They can have different counter spells. They could just have Jeskai Charms rolled up in hand. You don't really know.
And there is the risk of playing the game too slowly because that allows Vidi to set up the dig through time as well.
Also
or Keranos, or Narset. There's a lot of cards. So Bradley needs to be mindful of Disdainful Stroke, and he's been doing a great job of doing that thus far. But he can't just sit on his hands and say go, even though he's certain that Vidi has a Disdainful Stroke because playing at too slow of a pace, it says Jeskai aggro on the screen, but this deck has a lot of play to it even as you get to the mid-game into the late game.
Temple of Epiphany is land number 5. I'm sure Vidi would prefer that one to come into play untapped so he could do the old 1-2 punch, play Mantis Rider and leave up Disdainful Stroke, but he doesn't have that available to him right now. And this is a pretty tough scry, as you can tell.
And this is the tournament for one of these players.
Yeah.
Barring a draw, it ends here.
Leave it on top, pass it back. You will draw Whip of Erebos, top card, another copy of Arbor Colossus. Three, 4. It's a Whip, a great test spell here.
Yeah, I love opening on Whip once you have the second copy.
Yep. There's a Stroke. This is an attack for 2. Wijaya down to 13. Vidi does know most of the contents in Bradley's hand due to Corsa providing the information. Vidi will untap. He'll draw a card. What did he keep on top? It's a copy of Stoke the Flames.
And this is all part of Vidi's game plan here of trying to keep the board clean while leaving up Disdainful Stroke.
Yep. The question is, does he have another Stroke in hand?
He does have a blue card, but I believe it is dig through time.
I believe that is the case as well. Here is Mantis Rider. Here is an attack for 3. That is a Murderous Cut. That blows this all up.
That's a beautiful sequence too here because I think, Vidi's representing Disdainful Stroke. Now it's very dangerous for Bradley to untap and say, spend his whole turn casting Arbor Colossus. That could be the swing that Vidi needs to get back in this game, but now Bradley can still afford to play the game at his own leisure because there's no pressure coming from Vidi.
Now, Vidi was the one that was trying to pace things here, but now Bradley's taking over control. He's going to put a Nykthos into play. Gain a life from the Courser, of course. Top card is a 3rd Arbor Colossus. Again, he has 4 of those in his sideboard. They play a huge role in this matchup.
Now, Bradley will still respect Disdainful Stroke because Vidi is playing in such a way as to represent it, but the fact that Murderous Cut resolved may be an indicator that Vidi's hand's a little bit softer than he's been representing.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a nullify to counter this, but I think if you're Bradley, it's time to make it rain. He's got 1 Arbor Colossus in his hand. He's got 1 on top of his deck and a Whip. It's just time to fire these things off now.
Start getting stuff into play.
Your opponent's not going to have counter spells forever.
And you don't want the game into a point where you messed around for so long that Vidi resolves a Narset, and now you're under a lot of pressure to get things into play.
Yep. Back in the tank, Vidi's going to go. See the score, 21-10 in favor of you. Yu has played excellent Magic every single time we've seen him on camera. That's a Fledged Strand. You see the hand there, Rabble Master Stoke. The one thing that you're trying to do here, if you're Wijaya, you're trying to represent some real strength.
Yes. The easiest thing to do is just crank out your Mantis Rider and your Rabble Master, but that might just be too easy for Bradley to beat, and so you have to fake like there's something better going on in your hand.
Is it Mantis Rider or will it be Rabble Master? It's Rabble Master. We saw this card take over the last game. The question here is, do you have any interest? This might be another Murderous Cup, boy. And that card has been insane in this deck. It just blows up everything VD's trying to do, because right now when you look at Bradley's board, it's like, oh, he's in 1 spell per turn territory, right? Either Arbor Colossus or Whip, but in reality he's in 2 spell per turn territory, and that's messing up everything that VD wants to do.
And so much of VD's game plan here is trying to, get ahead with Disdainful Stroke.
Yep.
And it's impossible to do when his plays keep on getting hit with these 1-mana removal spells.
You saw Stoke the Flames take care of the Courser, but now the coast is clear here for you. And he's got the necessary mana to cast Arbor Colossus, so you have to imagine that's the route he's going to go now.
And now it's Bradley's Arbor Colossus versus VD's hand of Mantis Rider.
Well, hold on a second. He's actually going to go with Whip. I'm a little surprised to see him play that instead.
Well, if this gets into play, VD probably can't remove it, and now he doesn't have to care about anything. Like, imagine that VD's hand is super powerful. He has random sweepers. The Arbor Colossus may not be good enough, but it's hard to imagine the Whip of Erebos and a loaded Graveyard not being good enough.
That's true. And there is an Arbor Colossus down there. I assume he has used Delve on Murderous Cut twice. So, it does depend on what he's removed, as now he's going to sacrifice his Wooded Foothills in search of a forest.
Also look at the life totals. If the game was a close damage race right now, maybe you just need to get the Arbor Colossus into play out of a sense of immediacy. But he's at 18 and VD's at 10. He can afford to just take a turn or two off getting this set up and really start to grind VD out of this game.
It looks like we're going to make an attempt now. There's Arbor Colossus. That's in there. The big guy, 6'6" reach.
Anger of the Gods off the top for VD, which he may actually just have to attack the Mantis with the Mantis Rider and then anger post-combat.
Ugh.
Yep. Needed exiles, that's something, I guess.
It's a small victory. There's what it's called, snap block. And he gets to gain 6.
Neither the Anger of the Gods does very little with the Mantis Rider in play, and they both do nothing on their own, and they do a little something together.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Force the draw. Can Wijaya beat the 3rd Arbor Colossus plus that Graveyard?
He's a 10.
Yeah, he does not have a lot of life, and we're just going to go whipping right now. Yeah, Colossus U in. Puts you to 4. Opting not to cast a spell. Playing around counter magic, it seems.
Yep. This seems...
It's reasonable.
Yeah. You know that VD, he's likely to have... You've seen Nullify. You've seen Disdainful Stroke. Possibly has stuff like Negate, Dissolve even. The Whip will be good enough. And unless VD can find a Banishing Light pronto, he's not beating a Whip. And there are, I believe, 0 copies of Banishing Light in his 75. So this is a hole in VD's armor this weekend.
And that might be part of the reason that you have seen players actually go towards that card.
Not a lot of people blowing up artifacts, and there's fewer Banishing Lights in this metagame than I think I've seen in a very long time.
Battlefield Forge the draw. You gonna activate. It's a Doomwake Giant. That's big enough. Here's your attack. And that is going to do it. Bradley Yu's going to win this match over Vidianto Wijaya. 2 games to 1, and for you, he is moving on to 8-1 with Green and Black Constellation. With any luck, he's able to draw into the top 8. And either way, for Bradley, if he is not able to draw next round and he has to play, I will say this: third time we've watched him on camera, he has played excellent Magic.
It's been great to watch. I told him as much after the first time we had it on camera, and he seemed surprised that I was mentioning it. So I don't know if Bradley has had a lot of success with tournament Magic or how experienced of a player he is, but he's been very impressive thus far on camera.
This is someone to watch. You know, one thing I like to talk to you about, and we had a discussion quite a bit, is you can kind of just see when you're watching someone play, someone who just gets it.
Exactly.
You can tell watching him play. And the thing that really tipped me off was the way that he, the first time we watched him, his double and triple blocks. Immediately I was just like, okay, this guy just kind of hears the static from the sound. He knows what's going on.
There are these straightforward plays, and then there's the moments where someone takes a step back and says, oh, well, I need to play around this right now, or this is what the game's about, so I need to be making some unorthodox plays. Bradley's been very good with his operations, and he's also shown an understanding of what is the game about at various points. So well-deserved top 8. I mean, I guess it's not a lock here. He get paired down, maybe have to play and lose, but very likely to be in the top 8, and an impressive run for Bradley so far, playing very well on camera. A player I've never met before this weekend, but this is 3 rounds now, and I'm convinced he at least knows this deck extremely well.
And not only